You mentioned about because our past experience or the way the environment of our family growing up, it's tend to fix our mind or our behavior or habits in certain ways. However, there's also, should I put it this way? Like you mentioned, in today's modern world, there's a lot of news or social media sometimes. It's not just limited belief for people, but it embark the negative thoughts or patterns into our life.
Mhm.
So if someone's like feeling that way, like I'm not enough, I cannot achieve any goal outside of my fish tank, then
Right.
how what advice, like how can they overcome that? Do you have any tips or any
Yeah.
advice?
I mean, that's a fair question. I think so. I think first we cannot minimize that even within the U.S., some
Mm,
people, some communities uh, face certain systemic issues. Right? There are
right.
some
Yeah.
limitations that sometimes society puts on certain people. So we're definitely not today not limit this, like ignoring that.
Right.
However, what we're trying to say is that even with that, there's something that each person carries that is special and that this world needs. Like everyone, I believe every person I meet and encounter is a
Mhm.
gift to the world. Like I'm so blessed to have met Shelby, Shelby Tank.
Thank
This is a
you.
blessing. Yeah, it's a blessing because now I get to learn and hear about another person making a difference in the world, and I can try to add value to your vision and mission and vice versa. I
Thank
think
you.
that, yeah, I think that sometimes what happens, to answer your question,
Mhm.
for example, I mentioned that my grandmother raised me. Well, I was blessed, to have a grandmother, right? Some people don't even have a grandparent, but
Right.
it still feel like I wanted my mom and dad around, right? Like every little kid,
Yes.
I could imagine wants their immediate parents around. Well, that wasn't my reality. And so with that, even though I was super blessed to have my grandmother raise me,
Mm,
I did feel some level of abandonment or even
wow.
neglect, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Right.
so, as I was growing up, sometimes there were things that triggered like depressive thoughts or, being very down or negative, like you said, very low self-esteem, because
Yes.
I didn't grow up with that affirming father or even mother, like, hey, you know, son, you can be this or that, or,
Yeah.
so what happened is that I had to, like I said, reach out and get help. I've gone through, and I'm fully transparent with this because I feel like, sometimes people see certain people who have success and they're like, oh, it's just like I said earlier, straight shot to success. It's not like that. Sometimes, you have
Yeah.
bumps. And so for me, I had to go get some counseling, some therapy, right? Work out some traumas.
Mhm.
And all of that helped me to have uh, a better sense of well-being, right? Physical,
Right.
emotional, spiritual. So that's my I think advice today to others who are listening to us. You may find yourself, you're not feeling the best about yourself, or you're feeling down, or you're having negative thoughts. Well, check, are there, things that are lingering from maybe, when you were younger, or
Right.
unresolved issues. I think that as we get healing for that, then we can go and be a healer, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes perfect sense because I just talking to a friend just a couple of days ago. He told me a lot of story about him, and he has a lot of past trauma, put it
Yep.
that way, and it's kind of kind of hold him down or hold him back to his full potential.
Yeah.
And I told him that, well, you need to let go of those past experience or past trauma. It's not like to forget, but
Right.
to forgive, not
Yes.
forget, but to forgive. Yeah.
Right.
So that way he can move forward, and I don't think uh, I know you're a PhD doctor, but I don't think any medication can cure that.
Mhm.
Medication, to me, I kind of learned it's cured the symptom, but not the root
Yeah.
cause.
Right.
Right? Yeah. So a lot of root cause is coming from mind, and
Mm-hmm.
then that cause that affects the body to even get sick or anything like that. Right?
True. It's true. I'm actually reading a little book. I know we're here to talk about my book today, but I don't mind promoting others.
Okay, no problem.
Conquer your negative thoughts, and
Yes.
it's from Dr. Amen. And he talks about what you just said, that as we think, that's how we will feel. And so
Right.
if we think we're destroyed or defeated or we're not good enough, we will actually feel like that. We will make ourselves feel like that
Yeah.
versus if we wake up and we're like, even though things are tough, even though I'm having a,
Mhm.
difficult, let's say week or year, or maybe it's been some time, I think today can be better. And these are the things that I'm going to do. This is the help I'm going to get. These are the improvements I'm going to make. And so I think when you start to activate that positive, that well-being mentality, which again goes back to the growth mindset, that things can change, right? Because a fixed mindset says, this is the
Mhm.
way it is, and it's always going to be like that. I know you've heard that in LA.
Right.
I've heard it in LA, and
Yes.
this is
Everywhere.
the way it is, or I'm from here and I'm never going to leave, or it's like actually you can most likely you can make a difference. You can actually change your situation, you know?
Right. Yes. Do you myself, I started meditation. Do you do that
Yes.
meditation? Because I think meditation will really help, especially say in the morning.
Mhm.
Like in the urban city, like LA, a lot most majority people wake up the first thing. Oh, yeah, I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I gotta go and get drive to the work and traffic. It's all rushing, 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 and that will generate, like you said, angers, feeling, anxiety, right? And but from my personal experience, the meditation will really calm me down. I'm not chasing. I'm not rushing. I'm not going on the street and get upset about somebody cutting into my lane or some sort, right?
And why is that? How does meditation help you, enable you to do that or to feel like that?
Because I feel because the way I kind of like go into inner self
Hmm.
in my mind and just tell myself it's kind of like a mantra or affirmation in a
Hmm.
way, like like for example, I'm great, I'm gonna have a great day,
Yes.
telling myself like that.
Right.
I will do great, I'm not afraid, I will conquer, I will achieve today's goal or something like that. And then of course in some quiet moment I use sound
Hmm.
to help me to focus, because as you know, meditation, the um to biggest level to achieve is to have your mind focus and not drifting everywhere. I
Hmm.
think that's the biggest thing. And when
Right.
you do that, and your like we just mentioned, the body will align with your mind, and your body will not want to go anywhere else but
Right.
here. Right.
Right.
So yeah.
And that's very powerful and it makes me think that the opposite is also true. Like if
Right.
we don't take control of our mind, if we don't take control of our thoughts, if we just believe that this is, these are the cards that have been handed to us and that's it, then we actually empower negativity and empower defeat and empower, weakness and all these limited beliefs. And we begin to walk in that. And I think that it's powerful what you're sharing. I also, I try to meditate. I do more like prayer and reflection. I journal a lot. Um,
That's good. Yeah.
for a few years. I mean, here's one of my journals right here. I have it on my desk.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always readily available because even good ideas or things that I think, because I believe, well, like Jim Rohn once said, that if whatever you write down, you won't forget.